Your addiction to generosity is effectively what's making you poor emotionally. So here's the thing, let's think about the word or the words addiction to generosity. Now, when we think about generosity, we always think about, excuse me, the good that comes with generosity. We always think about the more we give, the better we are, the more we should give. If we give more, it means we get more, which actually isn't the case. When we give, and we give unconditionally, and we keep doing it and keep doing it, in a sense, it's like feeding the birds. It makes you feel good. But is it true generosity? You see, one of the most complex parts of the population's addiction to generosity is that it's a designed emotion that we adopted in the very early days of our adolescence, our childhood, the first 10 to 15 years. You see, your addiction to generosity, or the addiction of generosity, comes from guilt, low worth. It comes from needing to be liked, needing to feel good. Remember I put needing to feel good, not feeling good. There's a difference. Wanting other people to think good of you, just generally wanting to feel complete in yourself by giving to other people, and so on and so on. When in fact all these triggers, no, I won't call them triggers, all these layers that I mentioned there, that I list off there, are all negative layers. And what I mean by that is none of them actually bring any good to your generosity in your own purpose, in your own life. None of them do that. Now let's bear with me with this, okay? Because a lot of you watching this may find it almost offensive that I am saying to you, I am a recovered generous person. I'm a recovered generous person, which means, am I still generous? Yes. But my generosity comes from the fullest version of me, not from the version of me that had the layers of guilt, had the layers of shame, had the layers wanting to feel good, had the layers of, when I say wanting to feel good, remember I put wanting to feel good. We should organically feel good always anyway, because of our emotional structure, if we are not carrying the burden of our past life, not carrying the burden of the guilt, the responsibility, the shame, the low worth, and the multiple of other layers that we inherit very early in our life. You know, feeling happy, feeling content, feeling full is something that we were born with. We were born feeling full. We were born with an absolute knowing that we were worth it. And that's why we pushed out of the womb. We were born with no addictions, no emotional addictions. We were born with the knowing that we had deserve. We were born knowing that we deserved to be here. We deserved everything that was coming for us. And we were born with that absolute clarity that whatever we experienced in those days, and I'm talking the very early days, were rightfully our experiences, and that we deserved the good of everything that came our way. And of course, then we live with parents who overparent. Majority of parents in globally overparent their children because of a lack of them feeling good enough as a parent. So they tend to do more, when in fact what we do by doing that is we take away the right of our child to decide whether, you know, we are a good parent or not. I mean, think about that. We force our children to love us. And just bear with me when I say that, okay, is that we do it in such a way where we deliver a level of generosity that the sun is coming through the tent, a level of generosity to our children that doesn't give them a choice, because they have to be grateful, or they are taught to be grateful for what it is they're receiving and getting through our addiction to generosity, our addiction to giving, because we want to be good parents. We want to be loved. We want to be the best experience they could have, when actually we're giving them the worst experience. So coming back to the layers of generosity. When we go through life and we find that we are given, and yet we feel we are suffering in ourselves, and then we give more, thinking, well, I can't be given enough then in order for me to be feeling, you know, this bad about myself, or no, or things are not flowing for me, or, you know, there's no success, there's no money, or whatever it may be. And then we end up exaggerating the generosity that we give out. And it doesn't have to be physical generosity, it can be emotional generosity. In fact, emotional generosity has a far deeper, greater negative effect if the generosity has come from a place of you know, addiction. Now you may be saying, well, Paul, how do I see my addiction? Well, first of all, you have to look at the reasons why you're generous. And I don't mean now in current time. You have to look back and know, okay, how was I to my parents? You know, was I someone that felt I had to always do good by them, always had to be successful, always had to be good at this particular event? Was I someone that, bear with me, someone that, you know, did all the time, I did my chores and so on and so on and so on? So is your generosity addicted to doing? Is your generosity addicted to making other people feel good? But yet yourself feels underwhelmed. Yourself feels as if, you know, no matter how happy you make other people feel, you are unhappy in yourself. You see, then when you think about it, if karmically your generosity came from an authentic, purposeful, and let me say this word, selfish place. And what I mean by that is, your generosity should always come from a place where it actually has an influence in your growth, as well as the growth that you are offering your generosity to. And when I mean your growth, if your generosity is just camouflaging hurt, disappointment, and this isn't current disappointment or current hurt, it would be the disappointment, hurt, shame, guilt of the very early part of your life. It could even be the earliest part of your life as a baby, before you went into your 5, 6, 7-year-olds, your early teens. It could come from there. If you're helping somebody out on a physical level, you know, I'm going down a mate's house, I'm going to help him paint, or I'm going to help him do some DIY, or these kinds of things, then that is a different kind of generosity. I'm talking about emotional generosity here. I'm talking about where you constantly empty your emotional glass, your emotional self, to others, and feel that you are very much left behind, that you don't see that generosity coming back to you. Now let's be clear. If we are generous on the desire for people to be generous back to us, that's not generosity again. That's an addiction to generosity, which means you are trading your energy on the hope to get energy back. And that doesn't work that way. When you have mastered, I'll use the word mastered for the sake of this video, your understanding of your generosity and how you use it, you will also find that the word no is far more productive, powerful, and positive than the word yes. in your life. You will find by shaping the word no through an opportunity for someone to learn is far more beneficial than the yes, you do it, or yes, I will offer it. You see, it's quite a layered emotion, addiction to generosity, because of how it's hugely protected through the addiction of generosity. And people will defend their desire to give, their desire to be there, they desire to be that shoulder to cry on, the desire to be that one that always gives the advice, the desire to be the one that, you know, financially helps people out all the time, or the desire to be the one that keeps the family together, and the desire. None of these are wrong, but they become a breakdown emotionally when it's a constant give out for the purpose of not getting back. When they give out for the and I don't mean we have to give to get back. I'm not there. This is different. This is different. You see, true generosity means that when generosity is given at its fullest, most authentic, then the domino effect on that generosity becomes everlasting, from that person that experienced it to everybody else that keeps experiencing it thereafter. And then the universe then rewards you back in so many ways because of the amount of, let's say, almost generations that will benefit from what could be the smallest piece of wise, authentic, mature, and let's say purposeful generosity. It takes time. It takes time to understand which portions of your generosity is addicted or has an addiction to you wanting to use it in order to, or to give it or offer it, to keep filling that feel-good factor that you are very much looking for in your in yourself, in your worth, in your being. It takes time to start separating it. And this video is just to dip your toe in, really, to sort of open your awareness to, okay, what does my addiction to generosity look like? How serious is it? How often am I on the back burner and I've given my whole day, week, month, year to others that are just pulling on me all the time? The word take advantage of, that is one of the most obvious signposts that you can recognize as an individual that's addicted to giving generosity. Seeing that and feeling that nothing comes back from the efforts that you've put out there to others, for others, in others, around others, physically, mentally, emotionally, feeling that nothing comes back, that is another signpost that you are clearly addicted to generosity. In relationship, you know, many of us are in relationships that, sadly, many are in relationships that are very little love. Many are in relationships that have lots of love and is pure. If you're in a relationship and you're finding that you're giving, and there's nothing coming back, then that's not about love, that's about addiction to generosity. So give this some thought. Give it some thought. Throw me some questions if you need, I'm here. And think about your addiction. Or do you have an addiction to generosity? And I'm going to stick my neck out here and say, I guarantee you do. But you see it as being kind, and kind is important. You see it as being helpful, helpful is important. You may see it as being someone that's there for everybody and there for people, that's important too. But not through addiction, not through the addiction of generosity. If you want to be there for someone, if you want to do for someone, offer for someone, when you do it from the fullest version of who you are, it has a very different outcome. Not just for you or that person, but for the people after that person that experience the second-hand nature, the recycling of that pure generosity that you would have offered that had no attachment to addiction at all. Give it some thought. Throw me some questions if you wish. If you like what you're seeing here, please subscribe. I need this YouTube to work for me, so I can keep doing these. So subscribe, throw me any comments, and please share my video. If you know anybody that would benefit from any of my videos, go on to my my channel there. I've done procrastination, indecision. I've talked a lot about suicide and all these things. So if you feel anybody would benefit, please share. Please share. And yeah, happy days.